Hello guys, welcome back to the RPG game series, and in this video we're going to be making a basic combat system. So because in our RPG game series we're going to be making skills, abilities, weapons, not just combat, that's why we're gonna prepare the weapons in this video. For the system, just for the system. So in the previous video, I forgot to add in race pins, so make sure to do that in data handler. And also add in weapons, remove it from appearance and put it here. So we have the combat input. You can make that local script in the starter player scripts. And then this is our structure. The server storage, we have systems, right? Last video we made races. And now make a combat system module. So in this combat system, there's going to be weapons, and there's going to be abilities as well, but we're going to do that next video maybe. And then we need a module script for base combat. So in weapons, there's going to be a lot of weapons, multiple weapons. There's obviously going to be a default weapon, which is our fists, which has a module script of its own. And there's also modules for module scripts in the combat system. So back then we would put every single module in this, but I realized there's going to be too many modules. So that's why every system will have their own unique modules instead of their own unique module folder. And then in server script service, we have a combat folder. This is for combat server. We have spawn and we have combat server. Okay, let me explain the structure. We're going to be doing this. We input, and the input we send the action, and then we check what weapon the user has, and then we fire that function. Pretty simple. And in the combat, you just input, then the server, we create the hitbox, and when we hit, we apply damage using our own hit module. So why use hit module? It's to add implementations. Because if you want to add block, or if you want to add in iframes, or if you want to add in knockback, then you'd have to copy and paste similar code inside of a lot of attacks. So that's going to be annoying. So let's say you have a punch, you have a sword slash, then both of them are blockable. You're not really gonna copy and paste the same block JavaScript. You're not going to want to copy and paste the same block function to check every single time, right? So that's why you need to add in hit module, so you can add in implementations with hit easier. Okay, so first let's go to our server script service combat folder, because go to spawn, because we're going to be adding in attributes. As you can see, we have a function, apply attribute. This is the attribute we need for now, which is just combo. And then once the player gets added, we add in apply attributes to character added. Simple as that. And for existing humanoids, let's do the same. Oops. We check if we get descendants, which means we get every single part inside of workspace. We check if that part or if that instance is a humanoid. If it is, then we get the character by humanoid.parent. I'm pretty sure there's better ways to do this. I don't think this is good if there's a lot of parts inside of your workspace. Maybe use workspace to get children instead, or make a folder for all the NPCs, but it's up to you. For me, I do this, then I apply the attributes. Simple stuff. And then let's create the remote functions, the remote events. In remotes, make a new folder for combat and add in a remote event light attack. Okay, let's remove this. And then we go to combat input, which is inside of start character scripts. We get user input service. We get the light attack, the remote event, and we do user input service, user input began. We check if the character isn't typing, then we send the light attack remote event if the character is pressing mouse button 1. So there's a new user input service system that uses instances, but it's still in beta, so I'm not going to use it. So that's the input. We're not going to go to the combat server yet, because we still need to create our base combat. So inside of combat system, we need a base combat. This is basically for our punches, for our blocks, for our heavy attacks, if you want to add one. Because in a lot of weapons, it's going to be the same mechanics. When you punch, when you block, it's going to be the same mechanics. So why not use OOP here? It's basic OOP. There's the base combat module, and if you want to add in weapons, sword, axe, and default weapon, for example, default axe, we use the base combat, and then we add in inheritance, we add in children of that base combat. And if you want to add in different punch mechanics, different M1 mechanics, for example, when you use melee weapons, it's the same mechanics, but when you use guns or projectiles, it has different mechanics. You override it. Okay? So, let's go to base combat. Okay. So, we're going to be getting modules from our modules. You don't have to worry about hit module for now. You don't have to worry about cooldown module. You don't have to worry about end lag module. Here, let's comment this out. Don't do anything yet, by the way. Don't just copy the script in my video. I'll explain first. You don't have to worry about any of this, okay? So the first thing you need to do to add into your modules, which is Muchacho Hitbox. Muchacho Hitbox, you can get it in the link below, or I'm going to add a link for all the modules. Muchacho Hitbox, Stun Handler, and then we can do, and then I can explain all this later. Unlike module, I can explain later. So, okay, let's go to main. Oops, not this. Let's go to base combat. I'll explain from the beginning. We're going to be creating OOP. That's why we add in module.new. Okay? In module.new, we make a variable self, which is the object that we're going to be returning. We set metadata this empty table, which we're going to be adding in values later, right here, with the module. And inside of the module, there's a dot underscore index, which means if we're trying to index a non-existing value or a non-existing function, variable, anything inside of this object, then it's going to look through the same thing inside of this module. So this is going to be our reference point. So in module.new, we create a metatable. In metatable, we add in a new table called light attack params. It's the params the user is going to be adding in when they call this object. The reason why we do light attack params instead of just putting all this inside of self is because we're going to be adding in params for blocking, params for heavy attack. So there's going to be self.heavy attack params, self.block params. Here, we add in animations, which is an empty table. For animation 1, so for punch 1, punch 2, punch 3, we add in the damage, posture damage, let's remove that. We're not adding in posture for now. The stun duration, wind up, which is the wind up when you attack. There's going to be a wind up before the hitbox starts. You can add a table so every combo has different wind ups. The duration of the attack, the duration of the M1, the end lag for the final attack, the hitbox size, and the hitbox offset. It's always the same in my videos. It's just 4, 4, 4, and 0, minus 2, so that the hitbox is in front of the character. And now let's make a method. This is a constructor. This is a constructor, and this is a method. So instead of this method, we add in the character. Character is required. We assert character is required, which means if the character doesn't exist, then it's going to error character is required. Assert basically ensures the code that character exists. If it doesn't, then it's going to error. And then let's get the params. The params is self.light attack params, as you can see right here. You can add in a type if you want to, right here. It's so that there's auto insert, auto typing, as you can see. If there's no type, then you have to blindly copy. Then you have to, actually no, you don't have to be honest. That's weird, but yeah, I added in typing, but you don't have to. So first let's get the combo. Let's get the combo by character get attribute combo. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's going to be 5 combos. Let's get the wind up. Let's get the duration. Let's check if the character is stunned, if the character is attacking, if the character is in end-lag, or if the character is blocking. To be honest, we don't need this right now, so let's remove this. All this, we check if it's true. If it is, then we're going to stop. No more attacks. And then let's declare a variable, attribute changed. And let's get the player, which gets the player from the character. This is a method. And we get the ping. So if the player exists, then we get the ping from the character, and then we get the ping from the player. If it's and then we multiply it by 2000 because that's the formula. Because the ping is going to be 2000 times less than the actual ping. And then let's just print the ping. Okay. So let's get the humanoid, character.humanoid, the animator, the root part. So we can add the hitbox to the root part. Let's declare an animation variable, and let's create a hitbox. So first, let's add an overlap params so that the character, so we create a blacklist to ignore our character. Filter type exclude, so the overlap params exclude our character. Filter descendant instances table character. Okay, let's now create the hitbox. Muchacho hitbox.create hitbox. We create the hitbox. We set the size to hitbox size. We set the offset to hitbox offset. We set the C frame to root part. So in my module, you can set C frame to a C frame. Or if you want that hitbox to follow an instance, then you can set it to an instance like this. We set our overlap params to overlap params. And this is a new feature in my module script, which is velocity prediction. It's going to move further away than it is in the server with the velocity prediction time, so that it predicts the movement of your character so that it feels smooth. Okay, velocity prediction time, the ping divided by 10. That's just how it is, because 0.1 is 100 ping, 0.2 is 200 ping. This is the default value. Okay, and there's and then let's add in hitbox.touched. This is the default parameter that it returns, the hit and the enum. So knockback equals nil. If the combo is 5, then we set root part with reframe.look vector times 100. The look vector, which is in front of our root part, we get the position of where our root part is looking at, and then we multiply it by 100 because this is a unit value. It's gonna be 0, 0, 1 or something, because it's going to be a unit value. Look it up. Okay, we're not going to add in the hit yet. Let's just print the hit and the ihum, which is the enemy humanoid. And then after that, so after we add in the event, we play the animation. If animation exists, then below the animation, params.animations combo, animations play. Okay, right now we haven't set the combo, but that's fine. An attribute changed. So because we're going to be using attributes in the stun handler, if you stun an opponent, it's going to set the stun attribute to true, as you can see right here. See, stun to true. So we check if the stun is changed, if there's an attribute changed. If stun is changed, we check if it's true. If it's true, then we stop the animation. If it's true, then we find our hitbox by using find hitbox, with the hitbox key, because the hitbox automatically generates a key, we can't just do hitbox stop, because maybe hitbox has already stopped and hitbox has or maybe the hitbox doesn't exist. We need to ensure that the hitbox exists. If it does, then we do current hitbox stop, and then we do attribute change disconnect. It's because we don't want memory leaks. We don't want this to run even after our punch has ended. So what is combo reset task? Combo reset task is a table. It's a table that has characters as the index, because it's going to be handling for every character that uses punches. And here we index it. We cancel the combo reset task, and then we set it to nil. I'll explain that later. But this uses threads, okay? So and then we set the attribute attacking to true, and we combo change character. Okay, and then I'll explain what is combo change. Let's scroll up. Combo change, it's a function. It has character, it has the parameter. We get the combo. If the combo is less than 5, because I want 5 to be the maximum combo, then we do combo plus 1. We set attribute combo plus 1. Else, then we reset it back to 1. Okay, so then the combo will continually increase. And then after that, we do task.wait wind up. Once the character has done doing the wind up, we check if the character is stunned again, because maybe when you punch, you get stunned by a different character, and then you wouldn't want to attack after that. That's why we do this check, and then we start the hitbox. And then we wait the duration minus the wind up, because if we wait the duration, then it's going to be way longer, because we already waited for the wind up. Okay, so that's why we did duration minus wind up, because we already did a wait. And then we stop, and then we do character get attribute attacking false. Okay, if combo equals 5, then we do this, but it's not important for now. So here, combo reset task character. So this is a task.delay. It's to reset our combo if we stop attacking. The reset combo weight is 2 or something. Yeah, it's 2.5. So if it has been 2.5 seconds and the combo is still the same, if the character get attribute combo is the same as combo plus 1, which is the current combo, then we set combo back to 1. The reason why we put this inside of combo reset task character is because we wouldn't want to have multiple task.delays. Okay, so let's say you do one punch, and then you do another punch, another punch. There's going to be multiple task.delays, and that might mess something up, because it might suddenly reset your movement. Okay, it might suddenly reset your combo out of the blue, because there's going to be so many task.delays, right? That's why when we stop attacking, or when we do another attack, we cancel the previous delay function. We cancel the previous delay, because it can be cancelled, as you can see. And once the delay is done, we set it back to nil. Okay, because if it is a nil, then it's going to be cancelled. Okay, and then let's go. Cooldown module isn't needed. Hit module and end lag module is next. Okay, so end lag module. Why couldn't we just do character set attribute end lag and then do wait? It's the same reason. Okay, it's the same reason. So here, let's say we just do attribute plus wait. End lag equals true. We wait 0.3 seconds and we set end lag equals false. Okay, so let's say we have another attack that ignores end lag. We set end lag equals true, and let's say we wait 0.9 seconds to set end lag equals false. Then it's going to be set to true, in after 0.3 seconds because of this previous nlag script. I wouldn't want that. I want it so that in a module, we use a module, we set nlag to true, 0.3 seconds, nlag equals false, and in another attack, we set nlag to true to 0.9 seconds, then it's going to override the duration. Okay, I wouldn't want to have multiple waits. It's going to be messy. Okay, so here let's go to our nlag module. It's just the stun handler, but we set the set attribute nlag to true, and if the duration is less than the new duration, if our current duration is less than the new duration put inside of the nlag function parameter, then it's going to override the duration. So I'm not going to be, you don't have to copy all this because I'm going to give you the module folder. Okay, so let's just remove this, and now we can use nlag module. I've already explained it. Okay, and then let's do hit module. I'll explain hit module. So in hit module, we have the stun handler, we have the module, and we have params. So there's going to be a hit function. There's two parameters, the victim, in which we're going to be adding damage, and we add in params. So what's the params? The params is attacker who's attacking, okay, who's attacking this victim. The damage, we don't need poster damage for now. The stun duration, and the knockback. We given default values. The damage is the default value of damage is 0, stun duration is 0, knockback is 0. That's the default value. We check for the humanoid of the victim, because this victim is a character, and we get in the root part by doing humanoid.root part. We do the damage, and we check if params.knockback. We add in linear velocity. We set the max force to math.huge. We're not going to be using body velocity because that's deprecated. Okay, we set vector velocity to prime.knockback. The attachment 0. So in linear velocity with attachments, but luckily in every single character there's always an attachment in the root part, the root attachment, and then we set the parent root part. And then as you can see, I forgot to add in the stun. This is the knockback. Okay, so let's add in the stun. I forgot to add in the stun, so let's do that. If params.stun duration, then stun handler.stun our humanoid, and the duration, which is params.stun duration. There we go. As you can see, this is the params, and now in base combat we can do this now. So this is the hit params. We add it to our hit module. Okay, as you can see, hit params, if combo is 5, then we set the knockback to 100. And then let's uncomment this out. Okay, that's all for our base combat. And now let's add in our default weapon. This is our default weapon. Main. So in every single weapon folder, let's say sword, every single weapon folder, it's going to have a main module. As you can see, that's the pattern here. That's the system. Just do this. Set the damage to 5. Okay. Require the base combat. Get your animation. What is this, man? Get your animations. Do base combat.new. Set the light attack params. I set damage to 5. Poster damage doesn't exist for now. Animations. I have animations and replicated storage animations, combat fist, all that. And then your animations, your stun duration, your wind up, hitbox size, hitbox offset, all of that. Okay. And once you do that, we can get into the combat server, which is here. Combat server. So we do global.weapons. So this is a global variable that any script can use. It's going to be easy to use to get the weapons, to get all the weapons. So what is weapons? Weapons is all the modules that have been required. So let's say you want to add in default. So let's say you want to use default. We can do underscore g dot weapons index default, and then we can get that default module. So we require all the module in game.serverstorage.systems.combat.weapons. We get all the modules. We set the index name to the weapon name, and we require weapon.main. Now every single weapon is required and put inside of this table. We get the profiles. Okay, and let's remove all of this because we only have light attack for now. Light attack on server event player. We get the profile and we get the weapon of the player. We get the player weapon, which is profile.data the weapon or default, and then we get we get the module by doing this. We index the weapon name, and then we do player weapon, light attack, player character. And if you want to preload the animations, you can. As you can see, content provider, it's to preload all the animations. I think it should work now. Let's see. Okay, I'm a goblin. See, because of the velocity prediction, it looks smooth. Now that it's 0 for some reason it's 0. It's delayed now, but before that it was really smooth, right? See, it was really smooth before. But yeah. Okay, that's the 5th hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Okay, so this is for this video, guys. This is combat system for our RPG game. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See you next time.